it.
T-I-M-E.
It's awesome. Awesome to be here with all of you. Some of my favorite people in the world are here. I'm so, so happy. Debbie's here. Patricia's here. Eddie's here. Amber's here. Snowed in Alberta, we now know. So if you need us to send you something, let us know. We'll work on those transportation devices. Scott is here. Chukwuemeka is here. Malari's here. She made it back to us. Yay. Elizabeth and Alora. Really great to see you. Alec and Karen's here. Melanie, great to see you, Melanie. Sarah's here. Oh, hi, Sarah. MP, I don't know your full name, but I see MP on your screen there. Liana, there you are. Hey, good to see you. How you been? Wow. Patrick, great to see you again. Evelyn's here, and Zita and Kimberly. Gloria Sibu, great to see you. I know it's early for you. Patricia's here. Arlene. Madame Sarcastic Rabbit is back. That name will always make you smile. Gail's here. Wonderful to be here. Christine, Deborah. Great talk we had yesterday, Deborah. I'm really appreciative of you coming and speaking your truth and, that conversation. Nadea is here, and Catherine, Sandra, Alyssa, Ethel, and Bonnie. And more students as I scroll. So welcome everyone. Patty and Elsie, great to see you. Natasha and Nicole. It's wonderful to be here with you. It is Tuesday and it's November 16th. And yesterday we had a really great conversation. Scott sent a picture in the chat there. Should we look at the picture quickly? It needs a download. Yesterday we had a fun conversation that was about, I shared an experience that I had on the weekend that I went to a football game, and just admiring and watching how much, our motto was in it to win it, and just to see the precision and the way that, all the teammates were moving and just navigating this game. And I'm not going to get into all the details because it was recorded, but the thing that stayed with me the most, and that was after our conversation, after all the shares here, and, as I was thinking about it throughout my day and today, was focus. Focus, the laser sharp focus that these athletes have to just be committed to one thing. Like, this person has a job and they're doing it the best that they can. And yeah, they're ready for whatever's coming their way and they're able to navigate that. But they are focused. They got one goal, if it's to get a touchdown or to kick it into the, if it's soccer or if it's basketball, like Scott was talking about yesterday, and get that ball into the hoop, that's where the focus is. And I feel like as we navigate life and we add really important things to us, right? So I'm not at one moment saying that, okay, let me present this first. So, as we have a family, okay, let's list it so that we understand where I'm coming from. We have a family and we navigate our work life, and we have friends, and we have all of these different priorities. We have to make these decisions on where we focus and what we're going to where we're going to direct our attention throughout the day. Stephen Covey always says, make the main thing, the main thing, the main thing, right? That's something that John says a lot on these calls. And that's really what I want us to talk about, is this idea of figuring out where your focus is today. And I will say that focus can shift and change. All right. So, now we're in the fourth quarter. Focus should be on this business. Now, Amber's sharing that her house is, not, you're not receiving, I guess, groceries or things that are kind of where they help you live life, traditionally, or I guess, navigate cook your meal. All right. Let's put it that way. So then a focus might shift and be on, okay, I need my essentials. I need to gather and make sure that I have my essentials in order to live. But for us, Patricia and I were living in Texas, and the sky is clear, and we're having a great time. We can prioritize this business today. And even if I use Patricia's example of her prioritizing her husband coming home, that's where she said, okay, I only get to spend X amount of time, no matter what's going on, around me and in this business. And, I know you love this community and you love coming on these calls and you always participate, but the main focus on those days when your husband is home should be your husband. And that's the way it should be. So here's where I ask you, can we pause and make sure that we are outlining the main thing, that we are making the main thing? Because it's so easy. Right after my conversation with Deborah yesterday, and just thinking about how so many things like to get in our way, so to speak. And we like to, we like to kind of say, even for me, this, I'll share with you. I don't often stay home in the morning. I always kind of leave and I have all these things that I need to take care of. But today I got to come back to my house today, and I was able to take care of all the things, the laundry, the floors, all the things that you kind of push aside and push away. I feel like I was inspired after our conversation yesterday. And, so I made the time, I put that as a focus. Yes, I have my businesses that I have to run. And of course I have tasks that need to be done today. They have to be done today. They're not going to get done tomorrow. They will get done today. But I was able to get this time slot of 50 minutes where I was able to focus, to really focus and get the task done. And that's an interesting concept because, even especially during lockdown, when we were doing virtual school, right? And suddenly you see how much time, and you can Google these statistics. Where, they kind of tell you at first grade, the kids only learn an hour and a half. From a full day of school, the kids only learn about an hour and a half. And then in the second grade, it's about two and a half hours. And I don't want to give random numbers because I don't really remember, but it's a small amount of time where the children, are being taught during this time. So there's really only a certain amount of focus that you can ask of someone to get the task done. And as we get older, you would think that we expand and grow that. So definitely, we can complete more tasks and we can multitask and all that. But our attention is very easily distracted. And especially now, there's so much information coming your way from your phone, your inbox, your computer, your neighbors, your friends, your family. Now we can communicate with friends and family that are so far away from us, right? Even us now on this call, we have people from all over the world. We have UK, we have Australia, we have Canada, we have the United States, we have students from all over the world joining. And it's a different time zone, just like we were sharing before, for each and every one of us. And so we're able to connect. Where 20 years ago, it didn't look like that. I remember, the calling cards that you needed to buy to maybe dial out. And if you, got somebody there and there was only, the home phones, we didn't have a lot of people walking around with cell phones. If the person wasn't home, they weren't home and that's it. You'd have to deal with it and wait for the next day. So anyway, so just to kind of really solidify that idea of how we've shifted, how much information and how many distractions are coming our way at any given moment. So we really have to actively choose. It's not something that another one of those things that we can just wing it. Okay, well, today I'll wake up, I'll do my things and I'll work on my business a little bit. Maybe that'll work for you in March or in April. But now, when it's November, December, and we really have to hone in on these skills in this time, we need to make sure that we're prioritizing or we're focusing on what matters most to us. And it's okay if for Patricia during those couple of days, it wasn't the business. She knew it, she knows it, and she's going to make up for it because I know who she is, but we can feel inspired by that. So, we sit with ourselves because nobody's calling you on the phone to check in and say, hey, Eddie, how many mugs did you upload today? I mean, what's going on? When are you going to get into it? Right? If you had a boss or you had somebody that you needed to report to, then it might have looked a little bit different. They would say, by the end of the month, Eddie, you have to have 150 mugs up there and, we're going to have a discussion if you don't. But that's not the situation here. So you have to be that person. You have to make sure that you're bringing your focus into what matters most to you at the moment. And I'm going to say, because it's November, December, is the business. Now, I've already shared with you great ways that you can prioritize your day. And of course, for those with younger children and a family and you're running a household, of course, you're going to prioritize your family, just like I was sharing from Patricia's example. So you can make a little circle and kind of cut pieces of the pie and say, how much time you're spending on each. But when you do sit down to spend time on the business, it's the focus that counts. And now let's talk about, so we kind of understood this idea. Now let's talk about how do we increase our focus? Because we all understand that sometimes it's more challenging to stay focused on a task, as we're getting distracted. And we have this kind of automated system that comes into play. Like we just kind of get into things and we run with it and bam, there was an hour. I mean, as I was doing all of my random chores, I couldn't believe. And why do I know it's 15 minutes? Because I was on a phone call and I was like, I got it done in like 10, 15 minutes, it felt like, right? But no, it was measured. So it was 50 and I could see it. And that's interesting because this will happen to us also on our computer. We'll see a cute little video, some dogs and some cats, some funny little kids doing some things, right? And we'll click on it. And it's only a 60-second video, but then how many videos are you distracted by? How many videos do you watch? Maybe you're searching for a nice little slogan and you kind of justify your search with that. But can you monitor and stay focused on the task that you have at hand? So it really requires a couple of things. It requires willpower, first and foremost. It requires willpower. So you have to be willing to navigate and to make that change. It's not just going to happen for you overnight. It's going to require your willpower and your accountability, your awareness. Like, what are you actually engaging at? You can sit down on your computer and you say, well, I'm sitting down to work on my low-hanging system. And then a friend or a family member will scoop by and see you on Facebook or some other, random thing. And they'll be, oh, are you working on your business now? Oh yeah, I just had a pause. Okay. So where's the accountability for that? And can you really find the key things that work for you? So I'm going to list a couple of things that you can use as tools. So one of them that we talked about previously a while back is meditation. And we ask you, as part of the daily mode of operation, to really focus on a couple moments of meditation or a quiet time or some kind of visualization. It can be a walking meditation, doesn't have to be a sitting meditation. It can be listening to a song and just let's instead of getting into listing all of them, because that's not where I'm going, I'm just going to say, what does meditation give you? It gives you the ability to focus on one thing. So even if you just bring your focus to your breath for a certain amount of time, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So essentially you're training your mind to be able to focus on the task. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to set yourself up with specific tasks throughout the day that you want to complete and give yourself an exact time frame that you're going to do them. Let's say, for my example, the dishes or the house or the laundry. All right, now I'm going to do this. Now I'm going to do that. I get there, I get it done, and I go back. You're training yourself that every time you want to get something executed, something done, that you're going to stay focused on the task. So that means that on the way to the laundry room, you didn't walk into one of the other rooms and started organizing it. You didn't walk outside to see if the dog needs something. You didn't, in the middle of it, decide to go to the grocery store or whatever. You got the task done. So we can train our mind in this way with smaller things. So it doesn't have to be, at the beginning, I know some of you are new. It doesn't have to be uploading 10 mugs today. It can be, I'm going to watch 20 minutes of Rachel's videos, 10 minutes of Rachel's videos, and I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to stay focused. Somebody knocks on the door. I'm sorry, I'm watching a video. I'll be with you in 3 minutes time. You give it a definite time. You're defining how you're completing your task and you stay focused on it. And that's really key to then be able to navigate this business with so much more precision, with so much more execution, really being able to see the results. Because that's what a lot of people, yesterday we talked about, you're not looking for the results on the scoreboard, but enjoying the journey. But we have to, admit that so many people are focused on that. Okay, the results, what did I get done? All right. Can you train yourself to, when you're about to get into a task, when you're handed that ball, right? You're holding the ball, or you're on the field, you're on the court, all you think about is getting the task done. And this is really a skill that you can implement. You can train yourself to be this way. If some of you are listening and saying, well, I've never really been focused, and I was diagnosed with all these things, and everyone told me this and told me that. Well, that doesn't have to remain true for today. Today, you can shift and change if you make that decision. Remember, we said the first thing is that willpower. And so, I want to hear from you now, really, about maybe you share even, how do you stay focused? Because we're all at home doing this business, and we have our computers, and there's so many distractions. Thanks, Eddie. And so what are some of your methods of staying focused, staying on task, not getting distracted by all the information coming your way, and being able to train yourself in this way time and time again to really see then the results and see the how much growth and how much gain when you stay focused. One of Scott's things yesterday, he said, clear out all your tabs, clear the history, clear your browser, get all of it cleaned out, right? And I was kind of joking about it, but that really is one of the ways to really stay focused, is to clear out all the mess. That's why I had sat down, why I had dressed my house, because I knew that I was going to be here working from home today. And there's no way that I can work when there's so much going on around me that requires my attention. So that's another thing. We really have to set up our space so that it is inviting, so that we can spend the time that we need, so that we can stay focused and we're not distracted. Oh, well, I'll just put this away. Oh, well, now I saw this waiting for me since last week. Let me just get that done, and then I'll get back to my computer. No. This is your time. Schedule an appointment with yourself if you need to really stay focused and engaged with the program. So yes, that's why I wanted to direct our conversation. I did download that picture, but I didn't see it. Maybe it came up somewhere on my computer. Eddie, let's hear from you.
Hello, everybody, Karen especially. And I'm listening to this and I'm going, gosh, Eddie, do you want to talk about this? You always find these wonderful. Focus has always been a challenge with me. That's a nice way of putting it. And I that's why I spent most of third grade in the principal's office. Honestly, I was always either fidgeting. This is the 1960s. Fidgeting in a chair was a crime. You couldn't be doing this. Right. You couldn't be, you couldn't be check. You couldn't be passing notes. You couldn't even look in the wrong direction except at the teacher.
Right.
So I spent most of third grade in the principal's office. Now, God intervened and gave me a comic book. I've said this more than once, and I've come to depend on that. I said, wait a minute. But that's after I found out that was no accident. I'm going to help you get where you're trying to go. The following year, I remember students, the teacher was asking, gosh, I'm talking a little too much. The teacher was asking about this word. She wanted them to pronounce it. And it's the word where you can feel the air. It starts with a T. You feel the air. And what's that word that describes that? Well, they were using 2 and 3 syllables, temperature and temperature. That's how they were pronouncing it. Well, I knew the word had 4 syllables because that comic book had temperature in it. And I'm nervous and scared because I've already got in trouble for doing so much. I'm doing like this. But this is another grade, but I'm going, and everybody going, it was Smalls. So I go, the word is temperature. You just answered the $64,000 question. I'm going, oh, I did something good. I use that when I work with children to help them, because I work with kids that were ADHD. Oh, they had all these titles, ODD, all this. And I hear people talking about, well, I got problems because. No, don't ever say you got problems because you're making an excuse to not have a focus. Now I tell you, I'm 65. I still wrestle with focusing. But I'm gonna tell you something. I also talked about, I got a college degree, 4 different disciplines. I won a boxing championship. At Walmart, I'm always having a problem with focus, except I go there, I know what the main thing is. Give the customer what they came for. I got that down pat. My bosses look at me and they go, okay, he's not exactly doing it like we wanted, but he like what he's doing. And the way I handle it, Karen talked about meditating. You know why you should meditate? It's going to teach you discipline every day. Sometimes I meditate 2 and 3 times a day because it helps you discipline. Another thing is appreciating everything about life. I'm talking about, I hear somebody talking about snow. Well, it's 63 degrees here and it's nice and sunny and I love it. But if we got snow, we'll shut this state down. We don't have any provision for snow. Whenever it snowed, we were shut down. But we got out there and appreciate it. Hey, those snowballs. Going with this business, you have to tell yourself, what do you want? I mean, you have to be in control of your mind. That's what meditating is all about. I mean, Karen, she talked about football and please me. I said, hold on, she shouldn't say that because believe me, sports, yeah. If you're a cornerback job is to stop the receiver from catching the football. If he looks the wrong way and get out of focus 1 second, that could be a touchdown.
Exactly.
And he can get fired. And it's happened. On the wrong day when you ain't got it. I mean, and you got to go up against sure enough bangers. They don't care what the size of this guy is. 6'6", 260 pounds, and you down here 5'6". You got to stop that guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, whoa. So you have to tell yourself, no excuses. What am I going to do? And I'm beating myself up because this low hanging system. I'm just getting where Patricia. She's already zoomed past me because I heard her. She's like, "Oh, I've done something." So you know, I haven't. But I'm realizing what I'm doing. I said, "No, Eddie, stay on track because you have a plan." Because I'm working on focus as I've always done, and I say it's a challenge because I don't want to say it's a problem. Right. Because I've gotten involved with focus too many times and excelled. I worked with children and taught them to focus. And I said I had to quit making excuses myself because these kids were getting kicked out of school, leaving their families and living with me, a house parent. And I got them and put them in a singing group and gave them responsibility. And I wish y'all could have saw what those guys did. Playing buckets with drums, harmonicas, and up there singing and doing dance steps, 8 to 13 years old. And they were on these pills and medication. I say, well, look, I ain't got to do with your pills. I'm going to teach you how to get something done. And it has to do with what Einstein said, what you focus on expands.
That's right.
And I'm focusing on giving this speech the best I can in the time that I'm stealing because I'm going long here. And I keep saying that because I'm trying to be respectful of our speaker here. But this is powerful. What you focus on expands. If you focus on you're going to do the best you can with this low-hanging system, then things will start happening. I mean, that's what we're getting here. You come here, I don't care how long you've been here. Everybody's going to give you something. I mean, Patricia just went, oh, she's not screaming about fireman, but it came out of us. She wanted that. The mind said, we got to get something. We're going to give you something. And she got it. You know, so all I'm saying to you, we got a wonderful person that brings us here, Karen, to lead us. She helps us with our focus. Now, we keep saying this, but we're just not jabbing around. I try my best not to speak, but I can't. I'm compelled to do it. That's what my focus is, to give the best I got to give because I said that. So I'm just doing this because I'm piggybacking off of what our leaders ask, because she's giving us all this, get the best out of it, because most people have to go and pay somebody to give us this. Pay big money. So thank you for this opportunity to just to show off my wonderful voice, because I love it. I'm glad I had it, and I'm glad I went through the challenges I have, because they have taught me how to get stuff done.
That's right.
And that's what it's all about. Thank you.
That's right, Eddie. That's right. And you're talking about teaching kids, and you're kind of saying, I should be, but it doesn't matter. The past, where you are now, it's the moment right now. Right now you can change. Right now you can transform. Right now you can stay focused. And right now you can learn, you can train yourself to be focused just like you trained the kids. So, it's exactly the right time. I think oftentimes we beat ourselves up with, oh, well, it's not my time. It was my time. It isn't my time. It's exactly the right time. Right now, I'm telling you, it's exactly the right time. Today is the day, and you can do it at any moment. So I see there's a comment that went here in by Sia. You're talking about that quote from yesterday, right? When we were talking about, there's definitely a big, big difference between rich people play the money game to win versus poor people play the money game to not lose. There's a huge difference. It's not the same. One is winning it. They know they're going to win it. There's a confidence behind that. And the poor mind is like, I just don't want to lose here, versus I'm here to win it. And that's what we were talking about, being in it to win it, really having that mindset to conquer it. So I hope I answered your question. Amber, I know you help everyone out, but I'm glad you're speaking up finally. I know you used to a lot, but I haven't heard from you in a while, so I'm excited.
Hi. So you're just talking about like what keeps you focused. And so yes. Daily mode of operation. So on my list, I have the same things every day. I even have to list breakfast, because if it's not on the list, it doesn't get done, and all those kinds of things. So I have breakfast, I have the gym, I have my business to work, I have this meeting on certain days, I have Adam's meeting later on in the day, and that whole thing. And I just keep on doing that every day, and it keeps me on track. And like, so for instance, yesterday, my son ended up, on the way home from school, it's not very far. It's not a very far drive. He hit a snowbank, and that was about 10 minutes to the end of our call yesterday. And so like I just said to him, okay, just hang on, let me finish here, and then we'll deal with your snowbank. And nobody got hurt or nothing. Everything was good. Just a little bit rattled, the whole thing, not so much fun, but yeah, then he understood that, okay, just give me 10 minutes. I'm finishing this, what I'm doing, and we'll go on. But that's my thing, is just, is my list. Like, that's what keeps me on track. Yeah. I
love it, Amber. You're awesome at that. And for those who don't know, Amber is one of the students that offers so much advice and help for anyone that is willing to show up. And that's beautiful. And she's helped many, many students. So just listening to you speak, you're like, okay, the sky's not falling. I have my thing set up. Okay, something came in, something intercepted my groove and my flow. I'm going to deal with it. I've got me. Like, you have the confidence, and the confidence that it's all going to be okay, but I can finish the things that I'm in. So that's same as like that knock on the door, but a little bit more extreme, where something actually, came at him, or, he encountered something, and it's like, okay, Mom, I need you. But you were like, no, this is what I'm up to. And this call, I love that you used even our daily mode of operation, or maybe your own, but just using that term to understand how valuable the tools that we give you here in the program. Oftentimes it's so easy to just kind of push aside the ones that we don't feel fit into our lives right now. And we don't push you here in the low-hanging system. I had a conversation about that, with a student just this morning. We're not here to like hound you down, and say, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that one. No, Rachel is giving you everything that she's done. She's given it to you on a platter. Here, take it. But you have to be the one to want to accept it and then implement it in your life. We're not going to be calling and knocking on your door day in and day out and checking in. Did you do it? Did you do it? No, this is you. And even if you go with our advanced program, even there, you have to show up. You have to show up, even if there is someone checking in on you and making sure that you're getting it done and all that. I know, and that's not forever either. So it's always going to be on you and how you set it up. So beautiful, Amber. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. And I love hearing from you always. Ethel.
Hi.
First time camera on, I think, right? Is this the first time camera on?
Yeah.
I'm excited. I always see your name.
Yeah. No, first, thanks, Erin. Thanks, Amber. And thanks, Eddie. And this, you may already know it, but I want to remember it, to remind it. And the ones who don't know it, I want to introduce it, like the Pomodoro technique. It's what I use to get like focus when I'm like extremely like in procrastinator mode. And it helps me. It's basically like 25 minutes focus, 5 minutes rest, and after 4 cycles, you get 10 minutes rest. So I will like write in the chat the page I use, and it's really cool. Like when you feel like you really can't focus, you just get that one, and it's just like, okay, this 25 minutes, I don't think about anything else
You can do it.
but this. And then you stand up, you make some jumping jacks, and then you go back.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
And I
you.
love that, oftentimes, especially I'm just kind of thinking for my own life as you share, sometimes we need that little push, that motivation. Okay, it's only 20 minutes, right? Getting on the treadmill or whatever. If we kind of set our goals for an hour, well, I don't feel like walking for an hour. I don't feel like running for an hour. I don't know. Oh my God. But if you set it for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes, I mean, we all understand how quickly time moves. 10 to 25 minutes does not sound like a lot of time to any of us. So we know that when we, just set ourselves for something that we can definitely do, like stay focused for that amount of time, we're excited about it because it's like the reward is right around the corner. And that's so important with when we complete a task, when we get things done, to reward ourselves, to give us that, I don't know, good cup of coffee or whatever treats you like, or whatever it is, you set that reward system up. You were saying dancing and jumping and all the things to really be able to, really get excited with our achievements. So that's a beautiful, beautiful share. Thank you so much for speaking up. And it's great to see your lovely face. I love it. Patricia.
Good morning. I'm like Eddie. I wasn't going to talk today, but Karen, I promise every time I come on here, I feel like you're talking directly to me. And I'm sure everybody in here thinks the same thing, because last night I was trying to think of why am I not able to concentrate and do everything that I'm supposed to do here, but yet when I work for somebody else, I'm 100% tasked on. And I remembered, and this was last night, I was thinking about this, and I remembered my dad told me when I was young, he was probably the most brilliant man I've ever known. And we're not talking Albert Einstein brilliant. I'm just, and helping, for me, a young child. And first time I got a job, I was 12 years old, and I was ripping paint off of chairs. I had 32 chairs, and they were going to pay me $1 a chair. I thought I was going to be rich. Got me a pair of cowboy boots and everything. Anyway, Daddy told me, he said, Patty, if someone pays you to do a job, then when you are at that job, you give that person 100% of your time. It doesn't matter if they pay you a penny, $1, or $1 million. You accepted that job. You give them every bit of your time and do everything that you have to do for whatever they need. And I've tried to follow that thought. And I gave myself that promise that I would always do that. In fact, I promised my dad I would always do that, And so I was sitting here last night saying, how am I having so much trouble doing this? But when I work for somebody else, I have no problems focusing. And then I realized that, yeah, you are working for somebody else. You're working for you. Now that's the worst part. And how much are you paying me? It doesn't matter. You accepted the job. So I'm talking back and forth with my head. Me, myself, and I are having, and I is kind of being the what do you call it? The person in between, keeping me from yelling at the other person, and I realize I have to start treating myself like I treat other people that I work for, that I have to give them time. And you said, you said to set tasks. And that's something that I haven't been doing. I see all these things. I haven't been home in, I don't know how long. I've worked for other people for so long. And I sit at home and I see hundreds of things all around me that I need to get done. And every time I'm looking up, I'm like, and your good point that I heard was, make your place that you're working a place where it is calm, or whatever you need to work and do your best job. And that's what I don't have. So that's a task that I'm going to make myself, is to make me a place I can do that. Define your time. Define how much time you're going to give each thing. That's another thing I've never done. So I'm going to start saying, okay, I'm going to give 30 minutes to doing laundry and doing dishes or whatever it is. And so all these things are what I am tasking myself to do. And then I'm promising that I'm going to do. And we'll see. I'll keep y'all alert as to whether it works. I have more willpower than anybody would ever want to have. I've been able to do many, many things. So I'm going to use that same thought and that same willpower on this.
Very
But
good.
Scott said the other day, he said he fired himself because himself was not doing the jobs that he was supposed to do. He fired his accountant. He fired the person that did the designs. He fired all these different people. And we were like, how many people do you have working for you? And he said, just me. But he had to fire them all because they weren't doing their job. And he had to revamp his thoughts. So that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm firing myself right now. And I've never been fired in my life, which that kind of upsets me that I'm getting fired. But anyway, I'll have to get over that one. But, and Ethel, thank you so much for what you were saying, because you hit home as well. What you said kind of, it really went on time for me. But anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to learn how to focus myself the same way I was when I worked for somebody. And so y'all gave me a whole bunch of different things to think about and ways to do it. And I thank you for that. So I'll put them all down and I'm going to put them up on my wall and I'm going to check them off. And if I miss one, I'm going to go, why did I miss it? And try to figure out why I missed it so I can not. And I am going to start meditating, where I if nothing else, just breathe in and breathe out.
Exactly. Breathe in, breathe out. A couple of moments.
I can't sit for more
your mother.
Yeah.
For your mother. So that you breathe into the bottom of your lungs, you know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And the thing about the bottom of the lungs, my mama had lung cancer and she did not breathe deep. Well, down in the bottom of your lungs, there's no oxygen down there. And little things like aspergillus, which is a mold, can grow. And it's worse than cancer. And mama got that because she didn't breathe deep. And she had to learn how, even with partial lungs, to breathe deep and clear that out. Normal people clear it out because we breathe deep all the time, we think. But
I think so. I think often what they say is, like doctors say, deep breath. And deep breath apparently is when you're breathing deep. So you're breathing through your belly and not through chest. Where the quickest breath for me was through chest. I didn't know the difference till now. I think that breathing deep is, it takes more work to properly breathe deep.
It does. Yeah.
Well, it's awareness. I don't know if it's work. It's awareness. The idea of the rib cage, and we learn this as women when we're pregnant, because the belly presses up on the diaphragm and pushes the whole structure upward. You have to breathe laterally. So, belly breathing is one way, but really it's utilizing the rib cage and breathing laterally. So side to side, back and front, the whole way. And then you get a full breath. And I mean, there's a really easy way to do it. You can hold your ribs and see if you're able to push your arms away from you as you breathe and see the rib cage expand, feel the rib cage expand. And sometimes that's hard to do. And then you'll realize, am I actually breathing fully with my whole capacity of my lungs and my rib cage? Or am I just using some parts? And I just kind of inserted for your mother. I didn't mean, to get all that, but, just because I was like, that's a good one for you. It's right on point. And it's like, if she left you with a legacy, is to breathe and meditate through that, get the focus through there, yeah. And I love that I'm going to touch on two things that you said. First of all, you talked about all the different voices in your head. I almost came in and talked about all those, but I decided against it because it's interesting, because you can really notice there's a different tone to those voices, when it's an encouraging one, or it's a discouraging one, or it's, we can really hear those tones, and we can start to differentiate, who's speaking to us in that, if you, and it's good to kind of give them different personas and even colors or energy or whatever you want to give them, and realize that we're able to choose. which record we're playing. It doesn't have to be on autopilot and just listen to the nonsense and the chatter. You know, if we would think about chatty neighbors, you know, and going just going off in our mind. I mean, you wouldn't sit down for tea with them, right? I mean, you would be like, okay, I'm going to head out and y'all will meet you, you know, next time. And so that kind of thing where, you know, it doesn't run on automated. You know, there is a moment where you can say, okay, this is not the record I want to be playing. Deep breaths, setting a timer. And then you also talked about, Patricia, your space. It's so important. I literally feel like when I'm in the house, the walls speak to me. I've asked people if it feels like that for them too. My husband disagrees, but for me, it's like they're pulling me, do this, do that, paint the walls, get the thing. It's like all the things are calling Amber shaking. It might be a woman thing. I don't know. Y'all can share, but it's like all, you know, the house is just speaking to you. And that's why I do like to exit the home in the morning, get all my things done. And then when I come back, I know I have a certain amount of tasks that I get done here from the house and then my children, my family. So it is a real thing, Patricia. So just find your space, you know, and make it your sanctuary. Put, you know, nice little decorations that you like, a flower or something that inspires you, your vision board. I mean, whatever, make it nice for you so that you enjoy coming to work, you know, every day.
Well, I forgot one thing that Daddy told me. He said, if you work at home or you work for yourself or whatever, make it like you're going to work. And I forgot that. In other words, get up,
get dressed,
take a shower, eat breakfast, and then go to work. And that way you know that you are at work. You're not at home. Right. And so I started doing that too. But
that's great.
So thank you.
That's great. Beautiful. We got a bunch of comments there. See, I read it. Really, really good. And Deborah, let's hear from you. How are you doing today? I love that conversation.
Just fine. Yesterday. I'm doing great. And I love what Scott said about firing yourself. I think that's something that needs to be on a mug, Scott. But anyhow, Patricia, Eddie, and also Ethel, you know, all they're saying, and I have said this before when I had a counselor in psychiatrics, when I was in nursing, sometimes I work with women in the women's system. Sometimes you have to, but most of the time, all the time, you need to be selfish. Get selfish with yourself and you put yourself at the top of the list and make yourself the priority of your day. And I can get lost in with people around me, family, I need. And so now I had to put up there and tell everybody, I'm doing this at 1:15. If it's not a fire in the room, don't come near. And you have to do some of these things that put yourself first. Now, it sounds bad to be selfish, but yeah, that's what you have to do. And things will work out because once you feel great, like Scott was saying, once you feel great about your accomplishments, then it doesn't feel so bad to make the day, or you don't feel so bad about yourself because you have done what you need to do. And that's what's important. If you're not happy, things are not going to go right with the rest of the world if you don't make your accomplishments. So I thank all of you. It's been very inspiring.
Love it, Deborah. I always love when you speak. And you know, you're absolutely right. And have you ever heard about that? You know, they ask you on a plane, or there's that discussion when if there is some pressure drops in a plane and the masks come out and you're sitting with your little child, who do you put the mask on first? You
put your mask on first.
Yeah. 100%. And, you know, people might say, why? I want to put it on my child. I want to save my child. But if you pass out, it might be just those couple of seconds. There's no one to care for that child.
Yeah.
So it has to be you first. So that really goes in line with everything that you were saying. And it comes from a place of actually caring for them, caring for your children, caring for your family, caring for them. I mean, we're all building a business here, not to, you know, just buy expensive clothes for ourselves. And, you know, each of us has a really good goal, I'm assuming maybe, but I think I've talked to many of you, and you're setting up your future for yourself and your family, you know, and that is something that deserves time and deserves attention, undivided attention, and it deserves the focus. So thank you, Deborah, for always, you know, having some beautiful things to share with us. I saw Zita says yoga. That's a great way, you know, to learn to focus, breath and movement. Yeah, Eddie says selfishness is a great part of self-love. That's right, exactly. Learning to love ourselves. It's maybe a different conversation, but when we learn, we can only love to the amount that we know how to love ourselves. We can't, this is what we know. And so when you learn to really love yourself and to care for yourself, then you're actually learning in turn to love others and to give to others and to really be in touch with that place of unconditional love. And it's a mountain, it's a fountain that is, never ending. It just continues to replenish itself. And so if you can tap into that source, that is beautiful. All right, we got a little off track because they were talking about lots of things, but that's what's fun, right? We get to bounce ideas off of each other and we make them into this grand, bigger picture that we can all look at. I love that Mallory's back with us. She made the focus the priority of her business, and cut all the nonsense out. So we applaud you for that. We love you. We're so happy that you're back. Roxana is here again. Great to see you, Roxana. I saw your comment go into the chat there. I will be again with you here tomorrow. Yay. It will be Wednesday, and John will be with you here on Thursday. So see y'all here tomorrow. And